Solving quadratic equations with substitution, part 1. Even if an equation is not exactly quadratic, we might be able to solve it if we can make it look like a quadratic equation. And now this should actually bring us back to our time with factoring. There were some equations that weren't quadratic, but we were able to factor them because we could make them look quadratic with a substitution. So here's an example. If we have 6x to the power of 4 minus 7x squared plus 2 equals 0, well, this isn't a quadratic equation because it doesn't follow the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. X to the power of 4 instead. However, we can make a substitution. So we will substitute u instead of x squared, because x to the power of 4 would then be equal to u squared. If u is equal to x squared, then u squared is equal to x to the power of 4. So then we have 7 minus x squared, and x squared is just equal to u plus 2 equals 0. This is now an equation, a quadratic equation. We had to make a substitution to get it there, but it's a quadratic equation. And this can be solved. We can solve it using the using factoring or the quadratic formula. It just depends if we can factor it. Looking at it, it can be factored, I believe, because 6 and 2 multiplies to 12, and that we could use -4 and -3, and it would get us -7. So this can be factored. So 6u squared minus 4u minus 3u plus 2 equals 0. That would be 6u times u minus, 6, I can't factor 6 from 6 and 4. I can factor at most 2. So I'll factor out 2u times 3u minus 2. And then from the second one, I'll factor out a -1, leaving me with 3u minus 2 equals 0. So 3u minus 2 and 2u minus 1 equals 0. Now, I didn't use u in the, or I wasn't given u in the equation, I was given x's. So I have to substitute this u equals x squared back in. So that's really 3x squared minus 2 and 2x squared minus 1 equals 0. And now I can solve each of these. So either 3x squared minus 2, sorry, let me write this over here. So either 3x squared minus 2 equals 0, or 2x squared minus 1 equals 0. We're using this zero product property. However, each of these equations are actually quadratic equations themselves, which can be solved. So 3x squared equals 2 divided by 3 divided by 3. So x squared is equal to 2/3, which means x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2/3. And we will multiply by the square root of 3, multiply by the square root of 3. So this would be plus or minus the square root of 6/3, written without an irrational denominator. And to do the same thing to the other side, I could say 2x squared equals 1. So x squared is equal to 1/2, and then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1/2. So multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2 to rationalize that denominator, and I get plus or minus the square root of 2/2. So those are my 4 possible solutions. Either x is equal to plus or minus root 6/3, or x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2/2. So we were still able to solve this not quadratic equation using our quadratic equation skills, And we ended up getting 4 possible solutions because we had 2 solutions to this u equation, and then when we substituted x back in for u, we had 2 solutions for each of those solutions from the zero product property. Another way we can make a substitution is just by replacing, as long as the same thing is in multiple points, we can replace it with another variable. So in this case, let's use y. So if I say y equals x minus 2, then this equation really looks like y squared plus 7y plus 12 equals 0. And again, I see if I can solve it. And again, it can be solved by factoring because 12 can be factored into 3 and 4. So that would be, oh, this is a simple trinomial too, which is nice. So this would be y minus 3 or y plus 3 or y plus 4 is equal to 0. And I could get my solutions from here, but again, I'm not asked about y, I'm asked about x. I'm asked to solve this equation which has an x in it. So I put x minus 2 back in the place of y. So that's either x plus 2, x minus 2 plus 3, or x minus 2 plus 4 multiplied together equals 0. So that would be either x minus 2 plus 3 equals 0 or x minus 2 plus 4 equals 0. So that would be x equals negative 1 or x equals negative 2. And this saved a lot of effort because another way to solve this would have been to FOIL out this bracket and multiply out the 7 times x minus 2 and then rearrange everything into a quadratic equation and solve it from there. But with a quick substitution, it made our lives a lot easier.